Hey guys, and welcome to another dungeon run through. So today we are running through the Red Refuge dungeon, and we are running through it with my gunner class. So I've been doing a couple of different run throughs with different classes lately, and I decided to do some with my gunner. So today we're running through the Red Refuge, and though I don't sound like a complete total moron, I decided that for this dungeon run through that I would actually use a guide instead of nothing at all, because I don't know too much about this dungeon. I do know that there are 3 bosses and 1 mini boss type scenario that you have to do, but I don't know too much about the mechanics because normally my whole thing when I go into a dungeon is, if I'm trying to learn how to do the dungeon, let me learn how to do the dungeon, okay? Don't kick me out because I don't know the mechanics. Just let me learn it the way that I learn, which is by playing through the dungeons. So, I thought that we would actually go ahead and go through this one together. That way, you know what? You can know the mechanics and I can too, even though you don't need them to get through this dungeon. As long as you know your bosses, you should be okay, because a couple of these bosses are actually pretty, well, they're pretty unique, but you've seen them before. So if you've seen them before, you know all of their mechanics and you know what they're going to do. So the first boss here, of course, as you can see, is the big old crab boss. So he has some normal attacks that he uses, which if you're the tank, then that would be the front hit attack, where he will attack from the front, and then also he has a smashing move that he uses in the front as well to smash down both of his pincers. So if you are the tank, that is something that you are going to want to be looking out for. Also, he has some special attacks as well. He has the back attack there that he uses, where he will turn around and attack the front people. So like if you're the tank, he will turn around and attack towards the back. Also, he has a jump that he does, which you've seen, where he will jump up in the air and land down, and you will be stunned if you do not avoid that. So you want to be sure to watch out for that. Also, there's some key mechanics that you should look out for. So if you see the text that says, "I'll burn you to ashes," then the boss will start to spin, and he'll either attack in an inner donut area or an outer one first, followed by the other one. So if he does the inner one first, then the second one will be the outer one. And obviously you can see from the screen what I'm talking about. He also has that attack there that you're seeing, the spitting poison attack, that you can avoid as well. And I think that might be about it for him, because I'm not seeing too much more, because a lot of this stuff is for hard mode, but we're only on normal mode. So it's not the advanced version of Red Refuge, it's just the normal mode. But those are the main mechanics that you have to look out for. And like I said, if you've taken on the crab boss before, that you'll know exactly what to do, because these are the same mechanics that I believe that he's used before. So it's nothing new, basically. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the next boss in this dungeon. And this one is going to be a little bit different, but he's also one that you have seen before as well, so he shouldn't be too hard. Also, if you want to use this, then you can obviously use it for getting through this area as well, because you will see a little bit later that, of course, I get completely lost and look completely dumb. But I know pretty much where to go now. You have to kind of just follow everyone, and then you'll get to where you need to go. This area here is, I believe, for the quest as well, or the last building. No, I think it's this one. But the quest line, if you're doing that, you have to do that first before you attack all of these mini bosses, is what I like to call them right here. These little mobs. So if you're doing the quest line, you might want to tell everyone to hold off on killing these guys until you finish the quest inside the building there, or if they don't manage to kill them before you're able to get the quest done, then you can join them in the fight and kill them, and you'll still have your quest completed. So the next boss here is one that you may have seen before, the big old rock boulder guy. He is also has some a couple different things that you'll need to watch out for, but being the big golem rock guy that he is, he does a couple of the same attacks. So of course, if you are the tank, there is the frontal smashing attack, of course, and also he has a frontal slamming attack as well that he can use, and he can also do that double as well, so he can smash from the front, not once but twice. He can also do a spin and then slam as well, so he can spin around his arms and then slam down. And also he can make a disc go around. So he can spin that disc around in a circle all the way, and that will attack everyone as well. And then he also has a spin and slam from behind. He can spin and then rotate to slam down on someone behind the boss, being the DPS classes, so you want to watch out for that if you're going to be behind. Also, the healer can go behind the tank to avoid the boss turning around too much, is what it says here on the guide. So that is the normal attacks. Also, he has some special attacks as well. You might have seen a couple of those. So he has the iframe attack, which would be the fist slamming down. You can iframe that. So his rocket in his chest will light up red, and he'll fire at the tank. And then if you get hit by it, the catapults will start to target you. So this can't be iframed, and you need to move to the side of the boss. For the tank to tell whether or not it will fire to the front is the color on which the cannon lights up. If it lights up red, he'll fire at the tank. If it stays animated for a second, it'll turn and fire behind him. So for the DPS, the back attack will happen if he collapses, but doesn't instantly fire to the front. I know that might seem a little bit weird as I'm talking about it, but if you look up the Red Refuge guide from Essential Mana Online, which is what I'm using, they show visual aids, and of course you could actually see it on the screen as well from me. So he's also going to move his whole body, disassemble it, and then spin around. And that actually you've seen before. I know you saw that because we did it a little while ago. It will knock you down if you get hit, so you want to make sure to avoid that. And you need to get away, because if you get hit, then it will spawn tornadoes, which will launch you into the air. So the boss will also slam his hands on the ground 3 times in quick succession. If you get hit by the third one, then he'll pull you to the front of the boss, and it will do 60% of your damage. So just iframe before you see the third ground slam. So there are a few key mechanics as well. I know we're finishing up the boss, but there's 4 catapults. In normal mode, all 4 of them will use the same ammunition. At 90%, the first catapult will start firing, and at 20 HP increments, another one will fire, so like 90%, 70%, 50, and then 30. The first, as well in hard mode as it is in normal mode, the north catapult will shoot a simple AoE, which will target one random player and deal 60% of the damage. So that cross that you're seeing, that you saw on the screen, that would be the catapult there. That I'm talking about, where there's a little black thing on the screen, and then there's a cross. I don't know. I'm trying to read this, but also just following along as well at the same time. But we do have a little cutscene here, and so I did watch it because obviously you guys didn't get to see the first cutscene because my stupid computer just completely crashed on the game during the first scene, but there was a scene whenever you enter the dungeon as well. So it might make a little more sense if you see the first one. But unfortunately, I didn't get to do that one. But I do have the second one, and I believe the last one as well. So this part here is where I became completely confused and downright, like, just feeling so entirely stupid, because you're supposed to follow this trail to get to the end of the area of the forest, and my group already went through that way, but I didn't follow them because I was watching the little animation and the clip. So I didn't see which way they went, and of course I went the complete opposite and wrong way. So I had to have someone come back and tell me which way I needed to go. And I still didn't know which way to go. So I had to zoom in. I'm pretty much terrible at directions. But here we are, we have arrived at the final boss. So this one is Argog, I believe is what his name is called. He's the final boss. A lot of the attacks in this boss fight will involve him teleporting onto other players and doing AoE attacks on them. So it's very important that players spread out whenever they do these types of attacks. So we didn't really know too much of what was going on. We kind of just went with the all-out damage type of thing, where we were trying to do as much damage as possible so that we could kill him as fast as possible. That way we wouldn't have to worry about the mechanics too much. But I believe this is the one where we had a little bit of trouble towards the end. I'm not sure. I've done this dungeon a couple times, and I think I recorded it just once, and I don't remember which one I had the most trouble with, if it was these people or if it was another group. But anyway, so he's going to start by hitting with his left hand, followed by his right hand, and then both together. Which you've seen, obviously, because he just tried to do that to me. And these can do very, very big damage, so you want to make sure to avoid those. But the tank can, obviously, I believe, block those. But I'm not playing as a tank, I'm playing as DPS. Alright, so let's just look at his special attacks, though, here. I've got the special ones pulled up. So he's going to crouch, and after uncrouching, he's going to stun everyone. You can iframe that. So when you see him crouch, you just pay close attention to his shoulders. I have the red on the ground in my options so that I can see the AoE attacks when they pop up, but I had the hardest time trying to remember when to dodge that red big AoE attack. I don't know why, but I did pretty good before at trying to avoid it, but this time I didn't do so well. And the rest, I think, is all hard mode, so that's nothing to worry about with special mechanics. Only just that one there is the only one that you really have to worry about. So some key mechanics that you need to know. There will be a message that says Argog reveals himself, and it's a lot like a stun mechanic. So he's going to crouch a little bit longer, and then he'll use his fangs as an indication of when to iframe, if you can see that. A Lancer can use Guardian Barrier to block the AoE, resulting in nobody having to iframe. So if you have a Lancer, then that will help you out. But obviously we don't have a Lancer here, we have a Brawler. The rest is mostly hard mode, so you're gonna have a lot more that you're gonna have to worry about in hard mode. So I'm gonna read what it says here about the boss. He said that a lot of attacks in the boss fight will involve him teleporting onto other players, doing an AoE attack on them, so it's very important that they spread out, which I talked about earlier. So his basic attacks consist of a lot of combos. The first attack will define his next couple of attacks. The boss fight exists in 2 phases, in normal mode, and 3 in hard mode. So in normal mode, the second phase starts at 30%. Obviously in hard mode, it will start at 80, and then the third will start at 30, but we're not doing hard mode, so this is nothing that we have to worry about here. So, as you can see, he is the toughest of all of the bosses that we have dealt with so far. because of the different mechanics. I will say that playing through this dungeon as a brawler, I think, is a lot harder than playing through as a Lancer. Because I have done this dungeon before as a brawler, I think I have. I'm not for sure if I did or not, but a lot of the attacks that he does are pretty annoying, and avoiding them obviously would be the best bet. I have done it before where I think nobody actually avoided that AoE attack, and he ran straight for a DPS and killed them in one hit, or a healer or whatever, and not the tank. So obviously that's a pretty big deal. But our brawler here had a little bit of trouble with this boss. Towards the end you can definitely see that we kind of don't rely on the brawler anymore. But yeah, that's we had a little bit of trouble with this boss. It wasn't a perfect run through, but it was a run through at least. Also, I didn't mention it because I was hoping that you couldn't hear it, but there is construction going on in the background, so if you do hear that, then yeah, that's what it is. I think, though, we do manage to actually finally take him down, but it's a lot harder than it seems. And we also had a Valkyrie, I believe, that I think didn't really know the mechanics too well, so the Valkyrie kept dying, and the healer just kind of got tired of it and didn't really want to heal them too much towards the end. But we've got him about down to 10% here, so we are almost finished with him. And I think at this point in time I've pretty much just decided to go outside of the big red AoE so that I can avoid dying. But then, as you can see, if I take on the aggro and the tank doesn't, I'm definitely going to die. So you've got to make sure that your tank can take the aggro and keep it, because he's definitely going to hurt the DPS players. They are not as tough as the tank. And I know what you're thinking, why are you not behind the boss? You should be attacking from behind, not in the front. Well, at the end there, things got kind of a bit crazy. So the brawler was running around everywhere like crazy and was not doing what they needed to do. So we kind of just had to rely on DPS trying to kill him as fast as possible. Because without them, we wouldn't have probably got through this, because the tank was kind of pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't say I'm a good tank, but if you can't keep the aggro up, then we're gonna take forever to get through with this boss. So my goal in this whole scenario was just to keep attacking as much as I possibly could, and you know what, avoiding as fast as I possibly could as well, because it was all up to me, basically. Me and the Reaper, as well as the Valkyrie at some points too, but it was all up to us to take down this final boss, because the brawler just did not know what the heck they were doing, and could not hold off the boss like they wanted to. But don't worry, we didn't wipe or anything. We actually managed to take out the boss and complete the dungeon. So this is probably going to be the last of it, and then there is going to be a cutscene at the end of the video. But I think that is probably going to do it for my little guide here of the Red Refuge. You can see some of the things that you can actually get as well from running through the dungeon. But after the cutscene here, that is going to do it for my run through of the Red Refuge. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be sure to see you guys in the next run through of whatever we're doing, whatever it may be that I run through next. But that's going to be it for me.